Pikeville Lance.
Duash.
That's correct. 2 is bonus. The heroic epic title, The Lay of Igor, is the earliest literary work from what modern country?
Russia.
That's correct. 3 is toss-up. What is the largest possible value of a 5-digit binary number translated into a base 10 number?
Pikeville Eric.
9.
That's incorrect.
St. Xavier Troy.
25.
That's incorrect. It's 31. 4, toss-up. What is the scientific term for the repeating functional units of human skeletal muscle?
Pikeville Lance.
Cartilage.
Incorrect.
St. Xavier Kyle.
Fibers.
Incorrect. Circle mirrors. 5, toss-up. The United States adopted this foreign policy view in the 1920s with...
St. Xavier Troy.
Containment.
Incorrect. I'll reread. The United States adopted this foreign policy view in the 1920s with Warren Harding's idea of return to normalcy. Identify this foreign policy view which states that a nation should generally steer clear of involvement in...
Pikeville Lance.
Isolationism.
That's correct. 6 is bonus. One of a series of 15 woodcuts by the German Renaissance artist Albrecht Dürer named the artwork depicting 3 soldiers who ride with death to bring about God's final judgment on humanity.
The 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
That's correct. 7, toss-up. The Roman general Scipio encouraged him to adapt Greek comedies for the Roman stage.
St. Xavier Kyle.
Aristophanes.
Incorrect. I'll reread. The Roman general Scipio encouraged him to adapt Greek comedies for the Roman stage. Identify the 2nd century BC playwright whose dramas include The Maid of Andros and The Mother-in-Law.
Pikeville Eric.
Terrence.
Correct. 8 is bonus. Find the supplement of the complement of a 34-degree angle.
124 degrees.
That's correct. 9, toss-up. Identify the scientific term that refers to the diploid form of non-vascular plants that undergo life cycles characterized by alterations of generation. Alternation, thank you, of generation.
Pikeville Keith.
Dicotyledons.
Incorrect.
St. Xavier Kyle.
Monocots.
Incorrect. A sporophyte. 10, toss-up. What is the term for a member of a political party's congressional leadership whose job it is to count votes?
St. Xavier Troy.
Whip.
Correct. 11, bonus. The early years of the 20th century gave birth to many new ideas concerning how modern art should look. Identify the Italian art movement that rejected all past traditions and emphasized the power of machines in motion.
Constructivism.
Incorrect, Captain?
Futurism.
That's correct. 12, toss-up. What type of poetic foot consists of an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed?
St. Xavier Troy.
I am.
That's correct. 13 is bonus. Find the area of a right triangle with one leg measuring 6 centimeters and a hypotenuse of 10 centimeters.
24 square meters.
Incorrect, Captain?
24 centimeters squared.
That's correct. 14, toss-up. Identify the 13-letter term beginning with C that refers to the trend in vertebrate evolution toward increased centralization of control in the brain.
St. Xavier Kyle.
Collective.
Incorrect.
Pikeville Keith.
Cerebralism.
Incorrect. Cephalization. 15, toss-up. The election of 1800 in which Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr both received 73 electoral votes.
Pikeville Eric.
House of Representatives.
Incorrect. I'll reread. The election of 1800 in which Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr both received 73 electoral votes illustrated a need to change the way presidents were elected. Which amendment to the U.S. Constitution resolved this problem?
St. Xavier Kyle.
11.
Incorrect. 12. 16, toss-up. Housed in the former Winter Palace, it was originally begun as the Royal Museum for the Russian Imperial Family.
Pikeville Eric.
Hermitage.
Correct. 17, bonus. His plays deal with a variety of love relationships and question the morals of the time. Who was the English dramatist who wrote the pessimistic tragedies The Broken Heart and 'Tis Pity She's a Whore?
John Ford.
Correct. 18, toss-up. Find the circumference of a circle with area of 1,600 pi square.
Pikeville Keith.
85 meters.
Incorrect. I'll reread. Find the circumference of a circle with the area of 1,600 pi square centimeters.
St. Xavier Troy.
80 centimeters.
Incorrect. 80 pi centimeters. 19, toss-up. A characteristic organ of the mollusk, found in most groups except the bivalves and a few others, is a movable tooth-bearing strap of chitinous material suggestive of a tongue.
St. Xavier Kyle.
Muscular foot.
Incorrect, I'll reread it. A characteristic organ of the mollusk, found in most groups except the bivalves and a few others, is a movable tooth-bearing strap of chitinous material suggestive of a tongue. Identify this apparatus whose movement scrapes food materials toward the digestive tract.
Pikeville Barras.
Column.
Incorrect, radula. 20, toss-up. If you say someone kicked off instead of died, or you call your wife your...
St. Xavier Troy.
Colloquialism.
Incorrect, I'll reread. If you say someone kicked off instead of died, or you called your wife your old lady, you're using a more offensive expression for one that may be less offensive. What is the opposite of a euphemism?
Pikeville Eric.
Dysphomism.
That's correct, 21 bonus. An overture is a short musical composition that serves to introduce an opera and set the overall mood. What do we call the orchestral introductions to later acts of an opera?
Prelude.
Incorrect, Captain?
Entr'acte.
That's correct.
Timeout, Zach.
22, and it's a toss-up. She is the young and simple peasant whom Faust seduces.
Pikeville Lance.
Marguerite.
That's correct. 23 is bonus. If a number A is 125% of another number B, then B is what percent of A? That's correct. 24, toss-up. Although the bacterial chromosome contains all the genes necessary for the cell, virtually all types of bacteria can contain additional DNA molecules. Identify these prokaryotic pieces of DNA, which are much smaller than the bacterial chromosome and usually contain fewer than 30 genes.
Time.
Plasmids. 25, toss-up. It is criticized for redistributing money from the poor to the rich. Identify this type of tax whose rates decrease as...
Pikeville Lance.
Progressive.
Incorrect, I'll reread. It is criticized for redistributing money from the poor to the rich. Identify this type of tax whose rates decrease as income rises.
St. Xavier Kyle.
Regressive.
That's correct, 26 is bonus. George and Ira Gershwin collaborated on many popular songs of the 20th century. Give the title of a song that begins, "There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be..." what?
Someone to watch over me.
Correct. 37, toss-up. Born in Westover, Virginia, the son of a wealthy planter, he was commissioned to survey the boundary line between Virginia...
Pikeville Eric.
William Byrd.
Correct. 28, bonus. The midpoint of a line segment is 6 and -3. If one endpoint of the segment is 11, 4, find the coordinates of the other endpoint.
One comma -10.
That's correct. 29, toss-up. Their structure is identical to that of basal bodies. However, their distribution in the cell is different. Identify these cellular structures which lie in pairs with their axes at right angles to one another in the cytoplasm. They play a key role in organizing the spindle during cell division.
Pikeville Lance.
Centromere.
Incorrect.
St. Xavier Kyle.
Microtubules.
Incorrect. Centrioles.
Oh,
Yeah. 30, toss-up. It is the basic unit of study in geography. What is the term for an area that displays a coherent unity in terms?
St. Xavier Brandon.
Region.
Correct. 31 bonus. Its name is believed to come from the Turkish word for broken. This musical instrument looks a lot like a mandolin, except it's a little more than 2 feet long. What is this 8-stringed instrument well known throughout the history and culture of Greece? It is. Is it?
Lyre.
Incorrect, Captain.
Flute.
Incorrect. Bouzouki. 32, toss-up. In 1831, this French politician came to the United States to study America's penal system.
Pikeville Lance.
De Tocqueville.
Correct. 33, bonus. Solve the quadratic equation for x. X squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0.
X equals 4 and -2.
Incorrect, Captain.
X equals -4 or 2.
That's correct. 34, toss-up. A major component of this division of ocean life is plankton. What term refers to living organisms that float freely in the ocean? pelagic. 35 toss-up. The Maoris are native people of which?
Pikeville Eric.
New Zealand.
Correct. 36 bonus. Its name is for the Italian for little goose. It's in the flute family, but it's traditionally rounder and made out of fired clay. It has 4 to 10 holes that the player's fingers can cover or uncover to play a melody while blowing in one end. Name this musical instrument.
Piccolo.
Incorrect, Captain?
Ocarina.
That's correct. 37 toss-up. John Donne and the other metaphysical poets made extensive use of what type of elaborate metaphor or simile that?
Pikeville Eric.
Conceit.
Correct. 38 bonus. If f of x equals 4 to the x power, what is f of negative 3?
1/64.
That's correct. 39 toss-up. When an aqueous solution of barium nitrate is mixed with an aqueous solution of ammonium iodate, what insoluble precipitate forms?
Pikeville Key.
Barium iodate.
That's correct. 40's bonus. Protagoras was a member of this group. Identify these philosophical relativists who held no truth is universally valid.
Sophists.
Correct. 41 toss-up. In ads, it's called the most beautiful love story ever told on stage. In 1994, which Disney movie became the first?
Pikeville Key.
Beauty and the Beast.
Correct. 42 bonus. Named after the residence in which the love interest of main characters lives, what novel by Jane Austen was written to satirize Gothic romance stories?
Isn't it Eric?
Northanger Abbey.
That's correct. 43 toss-up. Solve for x. 3 to the 12th power equals 9 to the x power.
St. Xavier Troy.
X equals 6.
Correct. 44 bonus. Some chemical species have an odd number of valence electrons, so at least one of their atoms cannot have an octet. What name is given to these odd electron species?
Lone electron species.
Incorrect. Captain?
Anode.
Incorrect. Radicals or free radicals? 45 toss-up. He was known as the reformer of Zurich. Who was the Swiss man who played a leading?
Pikeville Lance.
Swigler.
Captain. Or judge, sorry. Captain, judge, whoever you are.
Correct.
46 bonus. This U.S. dancer drew on American folk legends to write her 1948 ballet, Fall River Legend. Name this dance innovator who choreographed such Broadway musicals as Oklahoma and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Martha Graham.
Incorrect, Captain?
Smith.
Incorrect. Ethis DeMille. 47 toss-up. This nationalist 18th century literary movement emphasized dramatic storylines, turbulent emotions, and the revolt of individuals against established society. Goethe's early work is representative of what German movement whose name translates as storm and stress?
Pikeville Eric.
Storm Drawn.
Correct. 48 bonus. Solve for x. The square root of the quantity 2x plus 1 equals 5.
12. X equals 12.
That's correct. 49 toss-up. How many hydrogen bonds form when cytosine and guanine base coordinates across the double helix of?
Pikeville Faraz.
That's correct. 50 is bonus. His vision of life was that it was nasty, brutish, and short. Therefore, an absolute monarch was needed to preserve peace and order. Identify this Englishman who expressed such views in his famous work, The Leviathan.
Hobbes.
Correct. It's the end of the first half. One inquiry.
Yes, and the inquiry was about a pronunciation, about Swingler, and it should have been Swingley, and it will be, point will be taken away from Pikeville. Okay, and both teams missed the bonus. And these do not go out of the room because it is a pronunciation error. And I had marked it on my sheet also that they had added an R to it. Okay, so just 1 point is taken from them, and we move on.
And the official score is Pikeville 27, St. Xavier 9.
And I'm sorry. They
Do
catch
I still
that.
have to say captain?
Yes, ma'am.
You're just a different spot. Okay. All right, got it. Coaches ready? All right, we'll start with number 1. It's toss-up. What philosophy views of the universe and all living organisms, including humans, as complex machines?
Pikeville Faraz.
Mechanism.
Correct. 2 bonus. The father of modern Swedish drama was what playwright who wrote Miss Julie and the Dance of Death?
Isn't it Eric?
Strindberg.
That's correct. 3 toss-up. 2 distinct 6-sided dice are rolled. What is the probability that the first die shows an even number and the second die shows a multiple of 3?
Pikeville Key.
1/6.
That's correct. Fourth bonus. What is the pOH of an aqueous solution of 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide?
10%.
Incorrect, Captain.
10.
Incorrect. 1. 5, toss-up. This country managed to resist colonization by European powers until it succumbed to Italy in the mid-19...
St. Xavier Troy.
Ethiopia.
Correct. 6 is bonus. A musical instrument called a marimbo, a dance called the lambada, and a wild pre-Lenten celebration called carnival are part of which modern country's culture?
Brazil.
Correct. 7, toss-up. In what essay does John Stuart Mill defend?
Pikeville Eric.
On liberty.
Correct. 8 bonus. What is the next term in this sequence? 1, 1/2, 1/6, 1/24.
Disney for us.
Time.
Captain.
1 over 120.
That's correct. 9, toss-up. How many total lone pairs of electrons are present on one molecule of diatomic fluorine?
St. Xavier Kyle.
None.
Incorrect.
Pikeville Faraz.
28.
Incorrect. 6. 10, toss-up. One of the most prominent generals in World War II was Erwin Rommel. On what continent did Rommel?
Pikeville Eric.
Africa.
Correct. 11 bonus. Known as the Black One, this Hindu goddess wears a necklace of skulls and has earrings made of corpses. Name this deity, the wife of Shiva, who once defeated an army of demons by drinking their leader's blood.
Kali.
Correct. 13, toss-up. More than 2,000 scholars worked for 5 years to complete the Untitled, the longest book ever written. In what country?
Pikeville Faraz.
China.
Correct. 13 bonus. What conic section is described by the equation 5x squared plus 5y squared equals 90?
Circle.
Correct. 14, toss-up. What chemical law states that the volume of given sample of gas at constant pressure is directly...
Pikeville Key.
Boyle's law.
Excuse me?
Boyle's law.
Incorrect. I'll reread. What chemical law states that the volume of a given sample of gas at a constant pressure is directly proportional to its Kelvin temperature?
St. Xavier Troy.
Charles' law.
Correct. 15 bonus. This question requires a multiple answer. Name any 3 of the 4 Asian nations that comprise the 4 tigers.
Taiwan, South Korea, Malaysia.
Incorrect, Captain.
Disney Eric.
Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam.
Incorrect. South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and Hong Kong. 16, toss-up. In what year was the independent Jewish state of Israel created?
Pikeville Lance.
1948.
That's correct. 17 bonus. The residents of this small Midwestern town speak from their graves to sum up their former lives in a famous work by Edgar Lee Masters. Name this town similar to E.A. Robinson's Tilbury Town.
Spoon River.
Correct. 18, toss-up. What is the residue of 91 mod 4?
Pikeville Faraz.
3.
Correct. 19 bonus. Assume that a force of 35 newtons acts upon an object in the positive x direction, and the total frictional force on the object equals 7 newtons. If the object has a mass of 8 kilograms, what is the object's acceleration in the x direction?
meters per second.
Incorrect, Captain.
4 meters per second squared.
Incorrect. 3.5 meters per second squared. 20, toss-up. Mark Twain coined the term for this period in American history.
Pikeville Eric.
Gilded Age.
Correct. 21 bonus. Often depicted with beastly horns and a tail, this deity murdered his brother Osiris after attempting unsuccessfully to usurp his throne. Name the evil Egyptian god of darkness.
Set.
Correct.
I'm out.
Start with 22 and it's a toss-up. The work for which Wendy Wasserstein won the 1989 Pulitzer Prize took part of its name from what young orphan girl, the protagonist of a popular children's book by Johanna Spyri?
Pikeville Quran.
Annie.
Incorrect.
St. Xavier Tommy.
Madelon.
Incorrect. Height. 23, toss-up. How many subsets does a set with 8 elements have?
Pikeville Quran.
8.
Incorrect.
St. Xavier Chris.
6.
Incorrect. 256. 24 toss-up. In physics, what kind of force does work on an object moving between any 2 points independently of the path taken by the object?
Pikeville Karan.
Displacement.
Incorrect.
Time.
Conservative. Everyone, please speak up with your answers. 25 toss-up. The revocation of the Edict of Nantes in France in 1685 sent hosts of what groups to the people?
Pikeville Saul.
Protestants.
Judgment.
Incorrect.
I'll reread. The revocation of the Edict of Nantes in France in 1685 sent hosts of what groups of people to the New World?
St. Xavier Alex.
Huguenots.
That's correct. 26 is bonus. This question requires a first and last name answer. This West Virginia mountaineer was so strong that he could pull trees out of the ground by the roots. Name this folktale character who once beat Paul Bunyan in a skating contest.
Dick Cheney.
Would be interesting to see. Captain.
His name, John Henry.
Incorrect. Tony Beaver. 27, toss-up. Give the nickname and last name of this reclusive neighbor of the Finch family in Nell Harbor, Louisiana.
Pikeville Saul.
Boo Bradley.
That's correct. 28 bonus. In which quadrant is the tangent function negative and the cosecant function positive?
Second.
That's correct. 29 is toss-up. This physical phenomenon occurs only when light travels from a medium.
St. Xavier Chris.
Typical effect.
Incorrect. I'll reread. This physical phenomenon occurs only when light travels from a medium of high index of refraction to a medium of lower index of refraction. Identify this phenomenon, which occurs when the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle and is the basis for the fiber optics industry.
Pikeville Sean.
Diffraction.
Incorrect. Total internal reflection. 30, toss-up. Senator William Leonard Marcy was the originator of what 6-word expression for the system of party patronage initiated under the Democrats against attacks by Henry Clay?
Time.
To the victor belong the spoils. 31, toss-up. Translating as let the buyer beware. What?
Pikeville Saul.
Caveat emptor.
That's correct. 2 bonus. The Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl wrote of his famous sea voyage that tested the hypothesis that early South Americans could have sailed to the Pacific Islands and settled there. Name the wooden raft Heyerdahl used, and you've also named the title of what 1948 book recounting Heyerdahl's endeavor.
Contiguity.
Correct. 33, toss-up. How many petals are in the polar rose with equation R equals 3 sine 2 theta?
St. Xavier Alex.
4.
Correct. 34 bonus. In physics, for what does the abbreviation EMF stand?
I designate Alex.
Electromagnetic force.
Incorrect, Captain?
Electromagnetic field.
Incorrect. Electromotive force. 35, toss-up. In 1873, he was convicted of 204 charges of fraud. Identify this corrupt New York politician.
Pikeville Karan.
False tweet.
That's correct. 36 bonus. Identify the contemporary author whose novel Empire Falls was awarded the 2002 Pulitzer Prize for fiction.
V.S. Napalm.
Incorrect, Captain?
Designate Ryan.
Grizzly Adams.
Incorrect. But close. Richard Crusoe. 37, toss-up. This type of literature is made up of stories, legends, myths, ballads, songs, and other works that arose out of the oral traditions of cultural groups around the globe.
Pikeville Ryan.
Mythology.
Incorrect. I'll reread. This type of literature is made up of stories, legends, myths, ballads, songs, and other works that arose out of the oral traditions of cultural groups around the globe. What type of literature is it?
St. Xavier Alex.
Folk literature.
Correct.
That's correct. 38 bonus. The obtuse angles of parallelogram are 3 times as large as the acute angles. Find the measuring degrees of either obtuse angle.
Time.
Captain?
160 degrees.
Incorrect. 135 degrees. 39, toss-up. In 1924, this French scientist suggested that all matter, not just electrons, have wave-like properties. Identify this scientist.
Pikeville Sean.
That's correct. 40 votes. Writing in the Ladies' Home Journal in 1905, he spoke against women's suffrage, arguing that sensible and responsible women do not want to vote and that the relative positions of men and women were assigned by a higher order. Who is this man, the only person to serve 2 non-consecutive terms as president?
Grover Cleveland.
Correct. 41 toss-up. In one of the most stunning special effects of movie making, Charlton Heston lifts his staff and parts the Red Sea.
St. Xavier's Chris.
The Ten Commandments.
That's correct. 42 bonus. Restate the following sentence in correct form. I are going to the football game with Sally and she.
I'm going to the football game with Sally and her.
That's correct. 43 toss-up. Simplify and evaluate. 1 minus 2 sine squared 30 degrees.
St. Xavier Tommy.
Cotangent squared, 30 degrees.
Incorrect.
Pikeville Karan.
1 minus 2 cosine squared 30.
Incorrect. 1/2. 44 toss-up. In astronomy, what 8-letter term beginning with P refers to an apparent shift?
Pikeville Salt.
Parallax.
That's correct. 45 votes. On July 3rd, 1930, what organization was created by combining all federal agencies dealing with ex-servicemen under a single department?
Department of Veterans Affairs.
Incorrect. Captain?
Veterans Affairs Department.
Incorrect. Veterans Administration. 46 toss-up. This widely acclaimed musical closed on Broadway in 2000. Name the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical.
Pikeville Ryan.
Correct. 47 bonus. Something that is worthy of praise is said to be laudable. Spell the word laudable.
Laudable.
Correct. 48 toss-up. What is the limit of x approaches 0 of the sine of x over x?
Pikeville Karan.
1.
Correct. 49 bonus. Because a mercury barometer is long and heavy and cumbersome, many people measure pressure by another method. What type of barometer employs a corrugated, airless metal container connected to a needle that moves along a gauge calibrated in both inches and millibars?
Atmospheric barometer.
That's incorrect. Captain?
Dick Cheney.
Incorrect. Aneroid barometer. 50 toss-up. In 1967, what president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters began service 8 year?
Pikeville Ryan.
Jimmy Hoffa.
That's correct. And that is the end of the match.
A mixture of brown chalk, plaster, and glue.
Pikeville Air.
Yes, sir.
Correct. 2 bonus. Rich in poetry and wordplay, this work has had a tremendous impact on the world's literature. Identify this Japanese romance by Murasaki Shikibu that is often considered the world's first true novel.
Isn't it Eric the Television?
Correct. 3 toss-up. The base 12 number system uses the digits 0 through 9 as well as...
Pikeville Heat.
A and B.
Incorrect. The base 12 number system uses the digits 0 through 9 as well as T for 10 and E for 11. Convert the base 12 number T4 to its decimal equivalent.
Apollo James. 124.
Correct. 4 bonus. Both branches of this portion of the kidney are bathed in interstitial fluid with high concentrations of sodium and chloride items and urea molecules. Identify this long tube within the nephron that connects the proximal convoluted tubule with the distal convoluted tubule.
Luke Henley.
That's correct. 5 toss-up. It is the most important provision in Article 6 of the United States Constitution. Name the provision.
Pikeville Land.
Homer's Clause.
Incorrect. It is the most important provision in Article 6 of the United States Constitution. Name the provision that states that the laws Congress makes shall be the supreme law of the land.
Apollo James. Supremacy Clause.
Correct. 6 bonus. Name the 5th century BC sculptor from ancient Greece who is famed for his statue of Athena in the Parthenon and for his statue of Zeus at Olympia, one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Phidias.
Correct. 7 toss-up. The death of what close friend prompts the great warrior Achilles to return?
Pikeville Air.
Correct. 8 bonus. An acute measure, an angle measures 6 degrees more than its complement. What is the measure in degrees of the angle?
48 degrees.
Correct. 9 toss-up. Because ribulose bisphosphate is regenerated in each turn of this cycle, it is analogous to the Krebs cycle in respiration.
Apologies. Calvin-Dixon cycle.
Judge?
Incorrect.
Because ribulose bisphosphate is regenerated in each turn of this cycle, it is analogous to the Krebs cycle in respiration. Identify this 3-carbon pathway which incorporates most of the dark reactions of photosynthesis.
Pikeville.
Correct. 10 bonus. This former Secretary of Education during the George Herbert Walker Bush administration ran for president in 1996. Identify this Tennessee Republican who won his U.S. Senate campaign in 2002.
Alexander.
Correct. 11 toss-up. Rounded arches and barrel vaults.
Pikeville Air. Romanesque.
Correct. 12 bonus. What man declined the 1964 Nobel Prize for Literature, awarded to him for novels such as No Exit and Nausea?
Sorja.
Correct. 13 toss-up. Find the area of a rhombus with diagonals measuring 10 meters and 8 meters.
Apologies. 40 squared.
Correct. 14 bonus. Identify the outermost embryonic membrane of developing reptiles, birds, and mammals that in placental mammals contributes to the structure of the placenta.
Corion.
Correct. 15 toss-up. Of all the opinions written by the Supreme Court during his tenure as Chief Justice, Earl Warren called this one the most important.
Pikeville Lane.
Brown v. Board of Education.
Incorrect. Of all the opinions written by the Supreme Court during his tenure as Chief Justice, Earl Warren called this one the most important. Identify this 1962 case concerning representation in the Tennessee State Legislature.
Apologies. Baker v. Carr.
That's correct. 16 bonus. A horizontal projection, such as a balcony or a beam that is supported at one end only, is given what architectural name?
Extension.
Incorrect, Captain.
Air cantilever.
Correct. 17 toss-up. Formed in 1594, its chief playwright was William Shakespeare.
Pikeville Air.
Or Chamberlain's.
Correct. 18 bonus. Find the area of a 90-degree sector of a circle with radius 8 centimeters.
16 pi centimeters squared.
Correct. 19 toss-up. These jointed arachnid appendages take the form of pincers or fangs and are utilized in the capture of prey. What term refers to the first pair of appendages on the body of spiders and scorpions?
Apologies. Clericine.
Incorrect.
Pikeville ferocity.
No, chelicerae. 20 toss-up. What is Abraham Maslow's term for...
Pikeville Air.
IRB.
Incorrect. What is Abraham Maslow's term for the process in which an individual constantly strives to realize his or her full potential?
Apologies. Self-actualization.
Correct. 21 bonus. It was a reaction to the complexity of modern music and was characterized by simplicity of rhythm and tone. Named this style of 20th century music, which included among its proponents Philip Glass and John Cage.
Modernism.
Incorrect, Captain.
Middleism.
Correct. 22 toss-up. On October 31st, 1517, the eve of All Saints' Day, Martin Luther began the Reformation.
Pikeville Air.
Wittenberg.
Correct. 23 bonus. How many months are in 7 1/4 years?
87.
Correct. 24 toss-up. Timeout. Apollo.
Any substitutions?
Start the clock. 24 toss-up. A nucleosome, the fundamental packaging unit of chromatin, consists of 2 elements. One of these is a DNA double helix wound around a cluster of 2 molecules. Identify the other element of a nucleosome.
I apologize. Histones?
Correct. 25 bonus. In economics, what is the three-word term that is roughly equivalent to the national income, less taxes paid by individuals, plus transfer payments made to individuals?
Gross national product?
Incorrect, Captain.
Gross domestic product.
No, it's disposable personal income. 26 toss-up. Nearly everyone recognizes the overture to the 1829 opera about the legendary Swiss hero William Tell. But what 19th century Italian composer wrote it?
KAAC, Rossini.
Correct. 27 bonus. In imitation of Goethe's Sorrows of Young Werther, this 1789 work by William Brown is widely regarded as America's first true novel. What is its name?
What is it, Eric? Hours.
Correct. 28 toss-up. Find the distance in three-dimensional space from the origin to the point. 3, 4, 12.
Thankful.
13.
Correct. 29 bonus. What term refers to the points on homologous chromosomes at which crossing over occurs?
Resonate bras.
Incorrect, Captain.
Synapses.
Chiasma. 30 toss-up. In the late 1940s, Americans began moving out of inner cities and into what type?
Suburbs.
Correct. 31 bonus. The hollowed sides of two shells, each about 2 inches across and typically made of rosewood or ebony, face each other and are linked with a cord. The player slips her thumb inside the cord, allowing the shells to dangle over the palm. Identify this musical instrument associated with Spanish flamenco dancing.
Castanet.
Correct. 32 toss-up. In 1818, this American author published his poem, To a Waterfowl.
KAAC.
William Cullen Bryant.
Correct. 33 bonus. Give the coordinates of the solution to the system of equations x plus y equals 11 and x minus y equals 5.
May 3.
Correct. 34 toss-up. What ecological concept may be explained by the facilitation hypothesis, the inhibition hypothesis, or the tolerance hypothesis?
Paul Michael.
Density.
Incorrect.
Thankful land.
Diffusion.
No, succession. 35 toss-up. The Gulf of Sidra lies directly to the north.
KAAC. Libya.
Correct. 36 bonus. This musical instrument must have a thing about the number 3 because it has 3 strings and a triangular body. Name this instrument, which began in Central Asia but is best known in the Ukraine and Russia.
Isn't it Eric? Balalaika.
Correct. 37 toss-up. It's one thing to sleep for 20 years, as Rip Van Winkle did.
KAAC. Washington Irving.
Incorrect. It's one thing to sleep for 20 years, as Rip Van Winkle did. It's another to labor on the same literary work for 20 years. What British historian actually spent longer than that writing his masterpiece, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire?
Apologize. Given.
Correct. 38 bonus. If f of x equals 3x plus 4 and g of x equals x squared minus 2, evaluate f of g of 4. Correct. 39 toss-up. What Greek letter is placed above the arrow in a chemical equation?
Apologize. Delta.
Correct. 40 bonus. It was the first assembly of bishops from all parts of the Roman world. Identify this meeting in which God and Christ were ruled to be of the same substance, co-equal and co-eternal.
Council Nicaea.
Correct. 41 toss-up. The songs, You're the Top and I Get a Kick Out of You, are from the 1934 Broadway show Anything Goes, which was revived in 1987 starring Patti LuPone. Name the Indiana-born songwriter who wrote the show's music.
Thankful land.
Incorrect. Cole Porter. 42 toss-up. Identify the English lake poet who gives a vivid description of his own experience as a drug addict in Confessions of an...
Mike Miller, Eric Winston.
Correct. Their 43 bonus. Consider the function y equals 4 times 3 to the x power. What is the percent growth of the function?
%.
Incorrect, Captain.
200%.
Correct. 44 toss-up. In chemistry, the Greek letter mu represents a measure of the magnitude of the partial charges in a polar covalent bond. What term refers to this quantity given in units called Debye? The dipole moment. 45 toss-up. He was famous for his paintings of scenes from the Reformation. Identify this painter of Martin Luther and the Wittenberg Reformers. Lucas Cranach. 46 toss-up. This dancer created a rigorous new technique for portraying expressiveness while dancing. Letter to the World in Appalachian Spring.
Margaret Graham.
Incorrect. This dancer created a rigorous new technique for portraying expressiveness while dancing. Letter to the World and Appalachian Spring are just two of the many works choreographed by what leading lady of modern dance?
Graham.
I'm sorry.
Graham.
Incorrect. Her name is Martha Graham. 47 toss-up. Name the scheming Spanish barber who is the central...
Mike Miller, Figaro.
Correct. 48. Simplify I to the 73rd power.
I.
Correct. 49 toss-up. What is the general term from biochemistry that refers to the functional group that comprises a peptide bond?
Amino acid.
Incorrect. What is the general term for biochemistry that refers to the functional group that comprises a peptide bond? A carbon atom double bonded to an oxygen atom and single bonded to a nitrogen atom. Incorrect. It's amide. In number 50 toss-up, his theory held that a heated body radiates energy not in a continuous unbroken stream, but in intermittent... Correct. We're going to have, coaches, you have 3 minutes. Toss-up. This question requires a first and last name answer. He believed in the importance of scientific method and emphasized... Correct. 2 bonus. One of the greatest and most controversial German writers of the 19th century was what Jewish author of the Outro and Germany, A Winter Tale?
Isn't it for us?
Correct. 3 toss-up. Find the median of the following set of test scores. 93, 95, 95, 90, 89, 88, 70.
Jason. 90.
Correct. 4 bonus. This phenomenon can be explained by Le Chatelier's principle. What is the 3-word term for the decrease in solubility of an ion in aqueous solution when a second salt that contains one of the same ions is added to the solution?
Common ion effect.
Correct. 5 toss-up. In 1853, he sailed into Tokyo Bay, showing...
Commodore Perry.
Correct. 6 bonus. What country celebrates Thanksgiving on the 2nd Monday in October? The country includes in its culture the history of Acadia and a popular singer named Alanis Morissette.
Canada.
Correct. 7 toss-up. First and last name answer required. Imprisoned in the dungeons of Nottingham Castle, he was tortured by the memory of his wife's death at the hand of mercenaries. He had sworn to avenge his wife's murder, but he later met up with Robin Hood. Name this merry man known for wearing his traditional red outfit.
Will Scarlet.
Correct. 8 bonus. Find the sum of the infinite geometric series 6 plus 2 plus 2/3 plus 2/9, and so on.
9.
Correct. 9 toss-up. How many different resonance structures that contribute to the overall resonance hybrid does the nitrate anion?
4.
Incorrect. How many different resonance structures that contribute to the overall resonance hybrid does the nitrate anion possess?
3.
Correct. 10 bonus. Nicolae Ceausescu pursued his dictatorial regime while democracy was triumphing elsewhere in Eastern Europe in the late 1980s. Ceausescu was the leader of which Eastern European country?
Romania.
Correct. 11 toss-up. Its name comes from a Latin word meaning common because it used words present in everyday speech.
Bulgaria.
Correct. 12 bonus. In 1898, he wrote a famous letter to the French president criticizing the Dreyfus affair. A leader of the French naturalist movement, this author's works include The Dram Shop, Nana, and Germinal. Who was he?
Emile Zola.
Correct. 13 toss-up. What conic section is defined as the locus of points in a plane for which the difference between their...
Hyperbola.
Correct. 14 bonus. In thermodynamics, what letter is used to represent the quantity of heat in a system?
H.
Incorrect, Captain.
G.
Incorrect. It's Q.
Time out.
Time out. Toss-up. This question requires a multiple answer. Identify the two ethnic groups that have been engaged in a civil war in Rwanda.
Hutus and Tutsis.
Correct. 16 bonus. In his youth, he was an untutored shepherd, but after a period of intensive study, he became the master of the Talmud. Identified by complete name, this Palestinian rabbi who was the first to collect and arrange the interpretation of Hebrew laws.
Ben Moses.
Incorrect, Captain.
Eric Akiva Ben Joseph.
That's correct. 17 toss-up. Name the 20th century American author who wrote the long poem Patterson and the poetry collection Pictures from Rugel. William Carlos Williams. 18 toss-up. Simplify the expression. The quantity 6x squared plus 37x plus 6 divided by the quantity x plus 6.
Pikeville High School.
Correct. 19 bonus. An object is dropped from a 20-meter high building. Assume that the object had zero initial velocity and freely falls to the ground in the absence of air resistance. To the nearest second, how many seconds does it take for the object to reach the ground?
Screw it, 20 seconds.
Incorrect, Captain.
2.
Correct. 20 toss-up. Identify by name and number. Karl Wojtyla was the name of which leader of the Catholic Church?
John Paul II.
Correct. 21 bonus. He lived in a cave near a great waterfall and wore an elaborate headdress adorned with a variety of water plants. Name this Egyptian god who watched over the Nile River.
Ra.
Incorrect, Captain.
Eric Happy.
Correct. 22 toss-up. It developed in Germany in the early 20th century and emphasized subjective feelings and emotions rather than...
Pikeville Eric Expression.
Correct. 23 bonus. Freshmen in a certain school must take at least one course of keyboarding or health. In a class of 100 freshmen, 65 are taking keyboarding and 50 are taking health. How many freshmen are taking both keyboarding and health? Correct. 24 toss-up. This three-word term is defined as the amount of heat required to raise the temperature.
Pikeville High.
Correct. 25 bonus. The Calverts were the founding family of which New World colony?
Maryland.
Correct. 26. Time out.
Any substitution?
And Apollo has used its 2 allotted timeouts. Start the clock. 26 toss-up. The moon goddess Selene fell in love with this beautiful youth.
Pikeville Eric Endymion.
Correct. 27 bonus. Her novel, The Conservationist, deals with a white industrialist who exploits his black employees for personal gain. For her works examining racial tensions, which South African author was awarded the 1991 Nobel Prize.
Eric A. Waterford.
Correct. 28 toss-up. How many times between 0 and 2 pi radians does the graph of y equals 3 cosine 5x cross the x-axis?
Michael P. Over 5.
Incorrect.
On the band. 10.
Correct. 29 bonus. Suppose that the wavelength of a sinusoidal wave function equals 6 pi centimeters. In radians per centimeter, what is the wave number of this wave?
Three radians per centimeter.
Incorrect, Captain.
1080 radians per second.
No, 1/3. 30 toss-up. On February 2nd, 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe, Hidalgo formally ended what conflict? Correct. 31 bonus. Today, this bank holding company is based in San Francisco and offers corporate and consumer banking, investment services, and mortgage banking. Name this company, which was formed in 1852 to provide much-needed shipping services between New York and California through its stagecoaches.
Wells Fargo.
Correct. 32 toss-up. The contemporary African-American writer Maya Angelou took the title of her autobiography, I Know Why the Caged... Incorrect. The contemporary African-American writer Maya Angelou took the title of her autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, from which of Paul Laurence Dunbar's poems?
Michael Sibley.
Correct. 33 bonus. Give the radian measure of the angle between 0 and pi that has a cosine of -1/2.
2.3.
Correct. 34 toss-up. How much power is dissipated by a 100 ohm resistor when a current of 0.5 amperes flows through the resistor?
Michael P. 200 watts.
Incorrect.
Jason.
25 watts.
Correct. 35 bonus. In 1870, it was built in Baltimore, Maryland by a group of racing enthusiasts. Identify this racetrack that is the home of the second leg of the Triple Crown.
Belmont Stakes.
Incorrect,
Is
Captain.
that Lance? Pimlico.
Correct. 36 toss-up. Followers of this religion are monotheistic. They worship Ahura Mazda.
Michael Eric.
Zoroastrianism.
Correct. 37 bonus. This type of literary character is often found in the writings of the 18th and 19th century English poet who created it. Give the two-word literary term for a defiant, melancholy young man who wanders through life weighted down by his mysterious past.
Is that for Oz?
Correct. 38 toss-up. The angles of a triangle are in the ratio of 3 to 4 to 5. Find the measure in degrees of the smallest angle.
Michael Farad.
Correct. 39 bonus. Identify the electrochemist whose namesake constant is the magnitude of the charge per moles of electrons, or 9.6485 times 10 to the 4th coulombs per mole.
Verde.
Correct. 40 toss-up. In 1905, he retired from heavyweight boxing because there were no challengers. Identify this first...
Michael Land. Jack Lewis.
Incorrect. In 1905, he retired from heavyweight boxing because there were no challengers. Identify this first black heavyweight champion who reemerged in 1910 to defeat Jim Jeffries in a 15-round fight.
Joseph.
Incorrect. Jackson Johnson. 41 toss-up. Irving Berlin wrote God Bless America, but he also wrote the song that was the musical highlight between Dr. Frankenstein and his monster in the classic Mel Brooks comedy Young Frankenstein. Name the song.
Michael Land.
All a Beautiful Morning.
Incorrect. Putting on the Ritz. 42 toss-up. Though they are becoming obsolete, many libraries still contain a collection of various up-to-date...
Jason.
Incorrect. Though they are becoming obsolete, many libraries still contain a collection of various up-to-date materials, such as pictures, pamphlets, government publications, and newspaper clippings. These materials are usually organized by subject and are stored in a special cabinet that is given what two-word?
Michael Frost.
Correct. 43 bonus. If theta is an angle in the second quadrant, and the sine of theta equals 5/13, what is the tangent of theta?
Apollo 12.
Correct. 44 toss-up. What is the astronomical term for pulsating variable?
Pikeville Air.
Pulsar.
Incorrect. What is the astronomical term for pulsating variable stars?
Apollo
Correct. 45 bonus. Its purpose was to restrict the production of certain crops. Identify this piece of New Deal legislation that was struck down by the Supreme Court in 1936.
Agricultural Adjustment Act.
Correct. 46 toss-up. This science fiction series premiered in 2001. Name this newest installment in the Star Trek.
Apollo
Enterprise.
Correct. 47 bonus. On my trip to New York, I admired the striking grandeur of Niagara Falls. Correctly spell the word grandeur.
Grandeur.
Correct. 48 toss-up. For a given function f of x, the limit as x approaches 4 from the left is 1, and the limit as x approaches 4 from the right is 3. What is the two-sided limit as x approaches 4?
Apollo Nathaniel.
Correct. 49 bonus. A hygrometer is one device used to measure relative humidity. What other instrument composed of two thermometers, one with a cloth sack around the mercury bulb, uses evaporation to measure humidity?
Evaporator.
Incorrect, Captain. It's called a sling psychrometer. 50 toss-up. He was the key figure in the Iran-Contra affair. That's correct.
In biblical times, the Roman governor customarily pardoned one prisoner each year at Passover time. Give the name of the condemned thief whom Pontius Pilate released from prison instead of Jesus.
Disney Lance. Barabbas.
Correct. Toss up 3. Convert the base 2 numeral 110100 to its base 10 equivalent.
Lafayette, R.V.
Hesitation?
Pikeville, Eric.
52.
Correct. Bonus 4. This region of human heart tissue functions as the natural pacemaker. What is this specialized area of the heart located in the right atrium in which contraction of cardiac muscle is initiated?
Similar valve.
Incorrect, Captain?
Cardinal node.
Incorrect. It's called the sinus node or the sinoatrial node. Toss up 5. What southern state would you be visiting if you went bass fishing on the St. Johns River and duck hunting?
Pikeville, Lance.
South Carolina.
Incorrect. What southern state would you be visiting if you went bass fishing on the St. Johns River and duck hunting in the Everglades?
Lafayette, Summer.
Florida.
Correct. Bonus 6. Lacking formal artistic training, this Frenchman painted highly original works of art that often portrayed jungle scenes. The works of what 19th century painter include The Snake Charmer and The Sleeping Gypsy?
Rousseau.
Correct. Toss up 7. The ancient Greek poet called Pindar was most noted for writing what type of triumphal lyric poems that...
Pikeville, Eric.
Correct. Bonus 8. An angle measures 10 degrees less than its supplement. What is the measure in degrees of the angle?
85 degrees.
Correct. 9 is a toss-up. What 8-letter term beginning with M refers to undifferentiated plant tissue?
Lafayette, James.
Veriscan.
Correct. Bonus 10. What organization founded by Pat Robertson can be described generally as a conservative faith-based organization designed to influence government?
The Christian Coalition.
Correct. Toss-up 11. Identify the European country whose 16th century style of architecture is called Plateresque.
Pikeville, Eric.
Correct. Bonus 12. This woman was a source of spiritual inspiration for the poet Dante. Name this beloved lady who guides Dante through paradise in the Divine Comedy.
Beatrice.
Correct. Toss-up 13. Find the area in square centimeters of an equilateral triangle with each side measuring 8 centimeters.
Pikeville, Farrar.
3 square centimeters.
Incorrect.
Lafayette, R.V.
16 times the square root of 3 square centimeters.
Correct.
Bonus 14, in all vertebrates, the brain is divided into two major parts. One of these parts is the diencephalion. Identify the other division of the vertebrate brain, the most interior portion and the structure of which has changed the most in the course of the vertebrate evolution.
Cerebrum.
Incorrect, Captain.
Isn't it air?
Incorrect, it's telencephalion. Toss-up 15. Potential interbranch conflicts were at issue in the 1952 case Youngston Sheet and Tube Company versus Sawyer before the Supreme Court. The case involved President Harry Truman's takeover of which industry?
Michael, Eric.
Still industry.
Correct. Bonus 16. Name the American sculptor who is famous for designing the gigantic faces carved on Mount Rushmore in the Black Hills of South Dakota.
Isn't it for Oz?
Correct. Toss-up 17, characterized by a complicated and sensationalized plot, the revenge tragedy was a popular...
Michael Lance.
Correct. Bonus 18, a 45-degree arc of a circle measures 35 pi centimeters. What is the circumference of the circle?
centimeters.
Say it again, please.
285 centimeters.
Correct. Toss-up 19, the planarian and other free-living flatworms are members of what...
Lafayette, RV.
Incorrect. The planarian and other free-living flatworms are members of what taxonomic class under the phylum Platyhelminth?
Michael, Eric.
Incorrect. Turbellura. Toss-up 20. It seeks control of body functions and mental states. Identify this Hindu discipline whose aim is to train consciousness.
Michael Lance.
Yoga.
Correct. Bonus 21. Created in the 1960s, what type of jazz music discarded many of the traditional forms and basic chord patterns of earlier jazz music?
Free jazz.
Correct. Toss-up 22. He collected and published a book of Latin proverbs, which earned him a scholarly reputation. He is, however, better known for his 1509 religious satire, The Praise of...
Michael, Eric.
Erasmus.
Correct. Bonus 23. Give the name for any planar quadrilateral with all sides congruent.
Square.
Incorrect,
Does it mean RV?
Captain. Correct. Toss-up 24. The products of these genes are regulatory proteins involved in the control of cell growth and cell division. Identify these genes that play a major role in the development of cancer.
Lafayette, James.
Terminal genes.
Incorrect.
Michael, Farag.
Incorrect. It's oncogenes. Toss-up 25. In economics, it is represented mathematically as C plus I plus G plus the quantity X minus M. What is the term for the total level of expenditures in any economy?
Lafayette, James.
Overhead.
Incorrect.
Michael Lance.
Liability.
Incorrect. It's aggregate. Toss-up 26. He composed an opera named Tremontier in 1910.
Lafayette, Summer.
Scott Joplin.
Correct. Bonus 27. Americans did not fully understand this Thomas Paine work and took it to mean that he was an atheist who had renounced his belief in God. Name this controversial work in which Paine expounded the principles of deism.
The Age of Reason.
Correct. Toss-up 28. Calculate the magnitude of the vector 9, 12.
Lafayette, RV.
15.
Correct. Bonus 29. What biological term refers to a vesicle-mediated transport of liquids across the cell membrane into the cell?
Active transport.
Incorrect. Captain.
Facilitated diffusion.
Incorrect. It's pinocytosis. Toss-up 30. In geography, what is the term for the coniferous region that dominates most of central Canada?
Michael, Eric.
Tiger.
Correct. Bonus 31. Its name comes from the German words for bells and to play. Tuned metal bars supported at 2 points are laid out in a keyboard configuration and are struck with beaters usually made of plastic or wood. Name this instrument, often seen in marching bands.
Lawrenceville.
Correct. Toss-up 32. Identify the elderly scholar, husband of Hester Prynne.
Michael, Eric.
Roger Chilling.
Correct. Bonus 33. Find the equation of the line passing through the origin and the point 6, negative 24. Time. answering? I'm sorry.
Isn't it broad?
Michael's under 4X.
That is correct. Okay, toss-up 34. Which biome, also known as the Mediterranean biome, contains slightly more vegetation than a desert biome and is characterized by mild...
Michael, Eric?
Aaron.
Incorrect. Which biome, also known as the Mediterranean biome, contains slightly more vegetation than a desert biome and is characterized by mild winters and hot to dry summers?
Lafayette, Summer?
Chaparral.
Correct. Bonus 35. The cities of Lawrence, Manhattan, and Wichita can all be found in which U.S. state?
Kansas.
Correct. Toss-up 36. When you're the conductor of a symphony orchestra, the first violins are to your immediate left. What instrument is to your immediate...
Lafayette, Summer?
Viola.
Incorrect. When you're the conductor of a symphony orchestra, the first violins are to your immediate left. What instrument is to your immediate right?
Michael, Eric?
Second violin.
Incorrect. It's a cello. Toss-up 37. In which of his poems does Robert Herrick advise the reader...
Michael, Eric?
To the Virgins and the Winter Time.
Correct. Bonus 38. Find a linear function in terms of x for which f of 3 equals 7 and f of 4 equals 9.
Isn't it broad? Michael Texas one.
I'm sorry, sorry again, say it again.
Michael Texas one.
Judge? Incorrect. Captain?
Designate RV.
F of X equals 2X plus 1.
That is correct. Toss-up 39. This question requires a multiple answer. Using correct IUPAC nomenclature, identify the two reactants of the thermite reaction. Time. The answer is aluminum and iron 3 oxide. Toss-up 40. In 732, Charles Martel turned back the Muslim advance in Europe in what battle?
Michael, Eric?
Battle Force.
Correct. Bonus 41. The opening song of the Broadway musical Fiddler on the Roof is introduced by Tevye, the main character, with this line. And how do we keep our balance? That I can tell you in one word. What is that one word?
Time.
Incorrect, Captain.
Serenity.
Incorrect. Tradition. Toss-up 42. English author Bram Stoker published Dracula in the late 19th century. In the novel, Count Dracula's castle is located in...
Michael, Lance?
Romania.
Correct. Bonus 43. An investment doubles its value every 8 years. If the investment is worth $3,000 today, how much will it be worth in 24 years?
$24,000.
Correct. 44 is a toss-up. According to the valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, what is the molecular geometry of the compound boron trifluoride?
Lafayette, James?
Trigonal planar.
Correct. 45 is a bonus. In January 2000, sports became violent as the father of one youth killed the father of another youth over dispute in what sport?
Hockey.
Correct. Toss-up 46. A husband and wife team who helped to renew great interest in golf.
Michael, Frost?
Ronan Iron Castle.
Correct. Bonus 47. It is the satirical story of a young Babylonian who has been instructed in philosophy and led to disbelieve all modern science. When the title character falls in love with the king's wife, he is banished, only to return years later and be crowned king. Name the 1747 tale by Voltaire.
Isn't it Eric? Zadig.
Correct. Toss-up 48. Multiply the complex number 3 minus 2i by its conjugate.
Lafayette, RV?
13.
Correct. Bonus 49. What amino acid, by nature of its sulfhydryl functional group, is capable of forming disulfide bonds in proteins?
Pyrazine.
Incorrect,
Isn't
Captain?
it broad?
Carboxyl.
Incorrect. It's cysteine. Toss-up 50. He was a principal figure in the dethronement of reason. Identify this German philosopher famous for the statement, God is dead.
Lafayette, Summer?
Nietzsche.
Correct. And that is 50 questions. Any inquiries, please? Then let's begin the second half with question number 1 as a toss-up. Which New World culture recorded crops and livestock by using a set of knotted colored strings?
Lafayette, James?
Aztec.
Incorrect. Which New World culture recorded crops and livestock by using a set of knotted colored strings called quipu? They worship the creator, Vera
Michael, Lance?
Olmec.
Incorrect, it's the Incas. Toss-up 2. It developed in France as a revolt against the coldness of realism. Proponents of this style include Paul Verlaine and Stephanie
Pikeville, Eric.
Symbolism.
Correct. Bonus 3. Find the mean of the following set of numbers. 3, 10, 4, 2, 3.
Isn't it for Oz?
Correct. Toss-up 4. The freezing point depression of an electrolyte solution is calculated by multiplying the freezing point constant by the
Pikeville, Keith.
Henry.
Incorrect. The freezing point depression of an electrolyte solution is calculated by multiplying the freezing point constant by molality of the solution by another constant. What is this constant, represented by a lowercase letter I?
Lafayette, James.
Temperature.
Incorrect. It's Van Hoff factor. Toss-up 5. He declared, quote, "The British are the finest race in the world, and the more of the world we inhabit, the better it is for the human race." End quote.
Pikeville, Lance.
Kipling.
Incorrect. He declared, quote, "The British are the finest race in the world, and the more of the world we inhabit, the better it is for the human race." End quote. Identify this man responsible for acquiring the country currently known as Zimbabwe.
Lafayette, James.
Mahan.
Incorrect. It's Cecil Rhodes. Toss-up 6. The poetry of Lewis Simpson, a game called Bull in a Pen, and reggae music are part of the culture of which?
Pikeville, Eric.
Me.
Correct. Bonus 7. His best-known work is similar in style to Twain's Tom Sawyer. An editor of the Atlantic Monthly, what author is remembered for his semi-autobiographical work, The Story of a Bad Boy?
Aldrich.
Correct. Toss-up 8. Find the sum of the first 10 whole numbers.
Lafayette, RV.
55.
Incorrect.
Pikeville, Frog.
45.
Correct. 9 is a bonus. What 7-letter term beginning with N is another word for isotope? This particular term is most often used in nuclear chemistry.
Neutron.
Incorrect, Captain.
Nuclide.
Incorrect. Nuclide. Toss-up 10. It was the first of the Axis powers to surrender to the Allies.
Lafayette, Summer.
Italy.
Correct. Bonus 11. In 1582, Matteo Ricci became the first missionary sent to China. Of what largest Roman Catholic religious order was Ricci a member?
Franciscan order.
Incorrect, Captain.
Jesuits.
Correct. Toss-up 12. Her philosophical outlook closely resembled that of her lifelong associate.
Lafayette, Summer.
Simone de Beauvoir.
Correct. Bonus 13. Find the vertex of the parabola. Y equals x squared minus 6x plus 9.
No answer.
Captain?
Isn't it for Oz? 0.
Correct. Toss-up 14. What chemical gas law named for a famous chemist?
Pikeville, Eric.
Avogadro's law.
Correct. Bonus 15. The Yorubas, Ibos, and the Hauses are the 3 main primary groups of people in which African country?
Kenya.
Incorrect, Captain.
Algeria.
Incorrect, Nigeria. Toss-up 16. A leader of the religious revival known as the Great Awakening. This English preacher helped...
Lafayette, James.
Edwards.
Incorrect. A leader of the religious revival known as the Great Awakening. This English preacher helped to convert many followers to Methodism. Name this fervent 18th century religious leader known for preaching in the open air.
Pikeville, Faraz.
Correct. 17 is a bonus. John McCrae wrote the poem In Flanders Fields as a reaction against the horrors he witnessed as a medical officer during which major war?
World War I.
Correct. 18 is a toss-up. If y varies inversely as x, and y is 54 when x is 6, find y when x is negative 12.
Pikeville, Faraz.
Say it again, please. Incorrect.
Lafayette, RV.
Negative 4/3.
Incorrect. It's negative 27. Toss-up 19. In meters per square second, what is the magnitude of the centripetal acceleration of a 6-kilogram object traveling in uniform circular motion at 3 meters per second around a circle of radius 2 meters?
Lafayette James.
9 meters per second squared.
Incorrect.
Pikeville Keith.
36.5 meters per second squared.
Incorrect. It's 4.5 meters per second squared. Toss-up 20. In 1972, he won 7 gold medals in the Munich Olympics. Who was this Jewish American sports hero who was
Pikeville Eric.
Mark Spitz.
correct? Bonus 21. Being part man and part fish, he was the son of Poseidon and Amphitrite. Name this sea god who created islands with his trident and who blew on a trumpet made from a conch shell.
His name Eric Triton.
Correct. Okay. Toss-up 22. Born Henriette Rosine, this actress was famed for her unconventional lifestyle. She is reputed to have slept in a coffin and to have been named...
Lafayette Summer.
Eberhard.
Correct. Bonus 23. Calculate the determinant of a 2x2 matrix with top row 5, -7, and bottom row 6, 9.
97? 87. 87.
Correct. Toss-up 24. Thermal energy transferred by the movement of heated fluid is said to have been transferred by what?
Lafayette James.
Convection.
Correct. 25 is a bonus. In what year was the first Continental Congress held?
It's 1781.
Incorrect. Captain.
1774.
Correct. Toss-up 26. When someone borrows money from a bank, he will have to pay back the loan in an additional percentage.
Pikeville Keith.
Interest.
Correct. Bonus 27. Born in Savannah, Georgia, this 20th century American author has been frequently compared to Faulkner for her realistic portrayal of Southern characters. Identify this author who published her many short stories in the collections A Good Man is Hard to Find and Everything That Rises Must Converge.
Flannery O'Connor.
Correct. Toss-up 28. Consider the function y equals -6 cosine 2x. What is the period?
Pikeville Keith.
Pi.
Correct. Bonus 29. To the nearest tenth. What is the index of refraction of pure water?
.7.
Incorrect, Captain.
0.6.
Incorrect, it's 1.3. Toss-up 30. It began when settlers attacked Florida Indians and then the
Pikeville Lance.
Freeport.
Incorrect. It began when settlers attacked Florida Indians and then the Florida Indians retaliated. Identify this war that helped make Andrew Jackson a national hero.
Lafayette Summer.
Battle of Tippecanoe.
Incorrect, it's the Seminole War. Toss-up 31.
Time out.
Okay, time out, Lafayette. Question 31 is a toss-up. A deficiency of this mineral can cause the heart disease known as cardiomyopathy. Name this trace element necessary for...
Lafayette Summer.
Manganese.
Incorrect. A deficiency of this mineral can cause the heart disease known as cardiomyopathy. Name this trace element necessary to prevent the breakdown of fat and body chemicals.
Pikeville Kieran.
Iron.
Incorrect, it's selenium. Toss-up 32. In 1969, she published her landmark book describing the 5 psychological stages through which people pass when they know they're going to die. Name this famous thanatologist, author of the influential work on death and dying.
Lafayette James.
Perez.
Incorrect. Time answer is Kubler-Ross. Toss-up 33. Express the polar equation r equals 5 as an equation in x and y.
Pikeville Kieran.
Y equals 5x.
Incorrect.
Lafayette Arlene.
Square root of the quantity x squared plus y squared equals 5.
Correct. 34 is a bonus. For a system of 2 conductors with equal and opposite charges, this quantity is defined as the ratio of the magnitude of the charge on either conductor to the magnitude of the potential difference between them. What physical quantity is symbolized by a capital C?
Conductance.
Incorrect, Captain.
Capacitance.
Correct. Toss-up 35. He was chosen by an electoral commission. Identify the president elected in 1876 who became known as his...
Pikeville Saul.
Rupert B. Hayes.
Correct. Bonus 36. S.E. Hinton began writing what young adult book at age 15 to expose the growing trend towards division between social groups of teenagers?
The Outsiders.
Correct. Toss-up 37. One example is the combination of the words smoke and fog to produce smog. Lewis Carroll's poem, Jabberwocky, is filled with examples of two words that have been combined to form a new word. What kind of words are they?
Lafayette James.
Compound words.
Incorrect. Time to answer is portmanteau or blend. Toss-up 38. Find the measure in degrees and minutes of the vertex angle of an isosceles triangle whose base angles measure 60 degrees, 15 minutes each.
Lafayette James.
59 degrees, 30 minutes.
Correct. Bonus 39. This question requires a multiple answer. The purpose of a famous experiment was to determine the velocity of the Earth with respect to luminiferous ether using an interferometer. Name the two Nobel Prize winning physicists who observed no change in the interference pattern of light as the interferometer was rotated through an angle of 90 degrees.
I designate James.
Michelson and Morley.
Correct.
Good job.
Toss-up 40.
Time out.
Okay. Still captain. Okay, we'll start the clock back up with question 40 is a toss-up. In 1898, he helped to found the Socialist Party in the United States.
Title, Saul.
Correct. Bonus 41. An expedition is sent from Earth to find out what happened to a colony of settlers on Alcar 4. Name this 1956 sci-fi movie classic featuring Robbie the Robot.
Lost in Space.
Incorrect.
That doesn't even fun. Lost in Space.
Incorrect. It's Forbidden Planet. Okay, toss-up 42. It is the list of all sources used in a writing.
Title, Karen.
Bibliography.
Incorrect. It is the list of all sources used in writing a research paper in MLA documentation format. What is this two-word term?
Lafayette Aaron.
Works cited.
Correct. Bonus 43. Expressed as a single trigonometric function. Sine 19 degrees, cosine 8 degrees, minus sine 8 degrees, cosine 19 degrees.
Cosine 27 degrees.
Incorrect, Captain.
Sine 27.
Incorrect, it's sine 11 degrees. Toss-up 44. This layer of the sun is only a few hundred...
Lafayette Family.
Corner.
Incorrect. This layer of the sun is only a few hundred kilometers thick and has an average temperature of 5,800 Kelvin. Identify this region at which electromagnetic radiation escapes the sun's atmosphere.
Title, Ryan.
Chronosphere.
Incorrect, it's photosphere. Toss-up 45. It was the first naval engagement during which none of the surface vessels fired a shot as...
Lafayette Aaron.
Battle of Coral Gable.
Incorrect. It was the first naval engagement during which none of the surface vessels fired a shot as all of the fighting...
Title, Saul.
Correct. Bonus 46. The contemporary musician Ray Charles is known for playing which musical instrument?
Piano.
Correct. Toss-up 47. In the sentence, my sister-in-law is coming to visit, correctly make the subject plural and restate the entire sentence.
Lafayette John.
My sisters-in-law are coming to visit.
Correct. Bonus 48. Find the derivative with respect to x of x times e to the x power.
I just made fun. EX squared.
Incorrect, Captain?
X e to the x plus e to the x.
Incorrect. It's e to the x plus x e to the x. Okay, toss-up 49. What geological term is defined as a concordant mass of igneous rock that is made non-tabular by a pronounced central thickening that arches up the overlying rock layers?
Title, Saul.
Incorrect.
Lafayette Aaron.
Intrusion. Incorrect. It's called laccolith. Toss-up 50. He was the first U.S. astronaut to achieve orbit. Identify...
Title, Ryan.
Correct, and that's 50 questions.
And congratulations to Pikeville and Johnson Central. I know you are both pleased to be here and in the finals. This is exciting, isn't it? Yeah, been there and done that, but that's really great. Let's give them all a big hand. I would like to introduce the officials for this match. My name is Melanie Anna, and I am from Louisville, Kentucky. Named from the jointed wooden model of the human body that is used by artists.
Pikeville High School.
Correct. 2 bonus. Listen closely. What word is the implied or understood subject of that imperative sentence?
You.
Correct. 3, toss-up. What is the name given to the point at which the perpendicular bisectors of the sides of a triangle coincide?
Johnson Swathi.
Orthocenter?
Incorrect.
Pikeville Keith.
Center.
Incorrect. Circumcenter. 4, toss-up. Examples include the milk glands of a human female and the sweat glands of a human skin.
Johnson Josh.
Excretory.
Incorrect. Examples include the milk glands of a human female and sweat glands of a human skin. What general term refers to glands that secrete their products?
Pikeville Bras.
Incorrect. Exocrine glands. 5, toss-up. What is the term for an intergovernmental grant to carry out a specific activity such as building airports, providing earthquake relief, or helping to educate disadvantaged children?
Johnson Kevin.
Initiative.
Incorrect.
Pikeville Land.
Blood.
Incorrect. Categorical grants. 6, toss-up. Influenced by the landscape of his native Pennsylvania, Edward Hicks painted his city.
Pikeville Eric.
Peaceable Kingdom.
Correct. 7, bonus. Although he wrote more than 80 tragedies, only 7 remain intact. Name this ancient Athenian playwright who wrote Prometheus Bound and a trilogy concerning Orestes, the murderous son of Agamemnon. Correct. 8, toss-up. What is the measure in degrees of an interior angle of a regular polygon with 40 sides?
Johnson Kevin.
171 degrees.
Correct. 9, bonus. Vessel members of one type of conducting element of the xylem of vascular plants. Identify the other type of xylem conducting cells characterized by tapering ends and pitted walls without true perforations.
Parenchymal.
Incorrect. Captain?
Designate Baras.
Correct. 10, toss-up. In the 2000 Republican primary, it was arguably the most important state. Identify this southern state. John?
Pikeville Land.
South Carolina.
Correct. 11, bonus. An almost poetic love for nature and natural beauty pervades the work of what mid-19th century school of American landscape painters who worked in the Catskill Mountains of New York?
Hudson River School.
Correct. Time. Johnson County. Here's a first and last name answer. Also famous as an astronomer and mathematician. Who was the 12th century Persian poet?
Pikeville Eric.
Omar Khayyam.
Correct. 13, bonus. A right cylinder cone has a volume of 36 pi cubic centimeters. A right circular cylinder has the same radius and a height as the cone. What is the volume of the cylinder?
12 pi cubic centimeters.
Incorrect. Captain?
108 pi cubic centimeters.
Correct. 14, toss-up. As vertebrate development proceeds and the embryo becomes separated from the yolk mass, a ventral and posterior pouch is formed in the primitive hindgut. Identify this pouch whose wall is composed of endoderm and mesoderm.
Pikeville Bras.
Incorrect.
Johnson Josh.
Dorsal sac.
Incorrect. Allantosis. 15, toss-up. In this case, the Supreme Court rejected both anti-delegation and the general separation of powers attacks on an unusually composed commission created to set federal guidelines for criminal sentences. Identify this 1989 case involving...
Pikeville Eric.
Texas versus Johnson.
Incorrect. In this case, the Supreme Court rejected both anti-delegation and general separation of powers attacks on an unusually composed commission created to set federal guidelines for criminal sentences. Identify this 1989 case involving the U.S. Sentencing Commission.
Johnson Josh.
U.S. Sentencing Commission versus Thomas.
Incorrect. Mistretta versus the United States. 16, toss-up. In the public areas of ancient Greece, there often stood a sheltered walkway. Their battle...
Pikeville Bras.
Correct. 17, bonus. Barabbas had his fortune confiscated when he refused to pay taxes. To exact his revenge, he carries out a series of murders and then dies in a boiling cauldron in what 1623 drama by Christopher Marlowe?
Jew of Malta.
Correct. 18, toss-up. What is the equation in terms of x and y for a circle centered at the origin and passing through the point 3, -5?
Michael Keith.
X squared plus y squared equals 25.
Incorrect.
Johnson Swathi.
X squared plus y squared equals 34.
Correct. 19 bonus. The most conspicuous sensory organ of the arthropods is the compound eye. Identify the basic structural units of the arthropod compound eye.
Good job.
Ocular unit.
Incorrect. Captain?
Designate for Oz.
Aye.
Incorrect. Omatedium. 20, toss-up. In sociology, what term refers to a set of expectations, rights, obligations, behaviors, or duties?
Michael Eric.
Standards.
Incorrect. In sociology, what term refers to a set of expectations, rights, obligations, behaviors, or duties associated with a particular status position?
Johnson Josh.
Roll.
Correct. 21 bonus. In music, it is a single melody that appears in several places throughout a composition to represent a recurring theme or idea. Name this musical device utilized by Hector Berlioz in his Symphonie Fantastique.
Leitmotif.
Correct. 22, toss-up. Give the nationality of the great Renaissance poet and playwright.
Johnson Swathi.
Incorrect. Give the nationality of the great Renaissance poet and playwright, Lope de Vega.
Michael Eric.
Spanish.
Correct. 23, bonus. Find the median of the first 20 positive integers. Correct. 24, toss-up. In a dihybrid cross between two individuals, heterozygous for both traits, what fraction of the offspring will exhibit dominant phenotype?
Michael Keith.
100.
Incorrect. In a dihybrid cross between two individuals, heterozygous for both traits, what fraction of the offspring will exhibit dominant phenotypes for both traits?
Johnson Josh.
3/4.
Incorrect. 9/16.
Time.
Time, Johnson Central. Number 25. 25, toss-up. He said in the long run we're all dead. Identify this English economist.
Michael Eric.
John Hicks.
Incorrect. He said in the long run we're all dead. Identify this English economist who felt that if something were not done in the short run to alleviate unemployment, voters would opt for fascism.
Johnson Kevin.
David Ricardo.
Incorrect. John Maynard Keyes. 26, toss-up. His 101st symphony was nicknamed The Clock, and his 94th symphony was a surprise.
Johnson Swathi.
Incorrect. His 101st symphony was nicknamed The Clock, and his 94th symphony was a surprise. Name this popular Austrian composer nicknamed Papa.
Michael Farage.
Schubert.
Incorrect. Haydn. 27, toss-up. The wild honeysuckle and the Indian burying ground.
Johnson Swathi.
Correct. 28, bonus. What point lies 1/3 of the way from -10.3 to -1.6?
-7,4.
Correct. 29, toss-up. In females, meiosis produces haplonuclei.
Johnson Josh.
Polar bodies.
Correct. 30, bonus. Examples of this type of region include the South and the Middle East. Identify the term for geographic regions that are loosely defined by people's perceptions.
Area.
Incorrect. Captain?
Designate lands. Super region.
Incorrect. Vernacular regions. 31, toss-up. The bars are thinned on the underside so that when the beaters strike down, the instrument produces a richer tone than a xylophone and is an octave lower. Name this instrument originally from Africa but now mostly associated with Central American or Mexican music.
Michael Eric.
Ronda.
Incorrect.
Johnson Kevin.
Marimba.
Correct. 32, bonus. Identify the 19th century Southern poet who demonstrated that the sound and sense of a poem are inseparable in his Song of the Chattahoochee. Incorrect. Captain?
Designate air.
Sidney Lanier.
Correct. 33, toss-up. What is the slope of the line with the equation 8x minus 12y?
Johnson Swathi.
-2/3.
Incorrect. What is the slope of the line with equation 8x minus 12y equal 9?
Michael Farage.
Correct. 34 bonus. They include scavengers such as vultures, jackals, crabs, and earthworms, as well as decomposers such as fungi and bacteria. What collective term refers to organisms that live on the refuge of a community?
Saprophytes.
Incorrect. Captain?
Good job.
Hesitation. Detritivores. 35 toss-up. Riga is the capital of which Baltic country?
Michael Eric.
Latvia.
Correct. 36 bonus. The rulon is a Chinese musical instrument with 4 strings, but another name for it is the moon guitar. That's because it looks like what American folk instrument that has 5 strings?
Banjo.
Correct. 37 toss-up. In what 1712 mock epic does Alexander Pope describe?
Michael Eric.
The Rape of the Law.
Correct. 38 bonus. This question requires a multi-part answer. The graph of x equal negative 3y squared minus 4 lies in which 2 quadrants?
Third and fourth.
Incorrect. Captain?
Second and third.
Correct. 39 toss-up. This electrochemical equation, first arrived by a German chemist, expresses...
Johnson Swathy.
Correct. 40 bonus. He was one of the most important critics of clerical affairs during the Middle Ages. Identify by complete name this author of The Defender of the Peace.
Michael J. Montaigne.
Incorrect. Captain?
His name for Oz.
Incorrect. Marsilius of Padua. 41 toss-up. An aristocratic young Frenchwoman runs from an unwanted marriage by stowing away...
Johnson Swathy.
Incorrect. An aristocratic young Frenchwoman runs away from an unwanted marriage by stowing away on a ship bound for New Orleans in what 1910 operetta whose music was written by Victor Hilbert? Naughty Marietta. 42 toss-up. Also known as the Grove of a Poet's Mind, what 1850 poem by William Wordsworth explores the...
Michael Eric.
Prelude.
Correct. 43 bonus. A radioactive isotope has a half-life of 9 years. If 120 grams of the isotope were an initial sample, how many grams of that isotope will remain radioactive after 27 years? Correct. 44 toss-up. What common chemical compound with a distinctive punch and odor has a tetrahedral?
Johnson Kevin.
Sophia.
Incorrect. Incorrect. What common chemical compound with a distinctive punch and odor has a tetrahedral electron pair geometry, but a trigonal pyramid molecular geometry, according to the valence shell electron pair repulsion theory?
Michael Key.
Sulfuric acid.
Incorrect. Ammonia. 45 toss-up. He denounced the wealth of the Catholic Church as a violation of the Church's precepts. Identify this Bohemian reformer, a Czech martyr whose words were a precursor to the Protestant Reformation. John Hus. 46 toss-up. A pioneer of modern dance, she rejected the restraints of ballet.
Johnson Swathy.
Correct. 47 bonus. In what 1635 problem played by Pedro Calderon de la Barca does Prince Sigismundo struggle to choose good over evil?
Life is a dream.
Correct. 48 toss-up. Express the principal square root of 72 in simplest form.
Michael Farad.
Correct. 49 bonus. The chemical formula of this compound is C10H8, and its chemical structure is that of 2 benzene rings fused together side by side. Identify this compound, which can be obtained by the distillation of coal.
Petroleum.
Incorrect. Captain? Incorrect. Naphthalene. 50 toss-up. Examples include Frederick the Great of Prussia, Catherine the Great of Russia, and Charles III.
Michael Eric.
Enlightened despots.
Correct, and that is 50 questions. You have 3 minutes to win the prize. Clock. Question 1 is a toss-up. This historic society gambled, played a game called Patoli, worshipped the gods Shipe, Totec, and its elite drank chocolate. What culture is this?
Michael Lamp.
Aztec.
Correct. 2 bonus. In 1841, what collective title did French author Honoré de Balzac give to his entire body of novels strung together by common characters and setting?
Human comedy.
Correct. 3, toss-up. A coin is flipped 3 times. What is the probability that exact 2 of the 3 flips are tails?
Time.
Time was up, 3/8. 4, toss-up. A salt precipitates out of an aqueous solution when a magnitude of what quantity is greater than or equal to that of the solubility product constant?
Tycho for odds.
Incorrect.
Johnson Floppy.
Incorrect. Reaction quotient. 5, toss-up. By 1914, only 2 African territories remained untouched. One of the...
Tycho Eric.
Egypt and Liberia.
Incorrect. By 1914, only 2 African territories remained untouched. One of these nations has its capital at Monrovia. Identify this country that was under the protection of the United States.
Johnson Josh.
Liberia.
Correct. 6, bonus. If you dance the Kwaku, drink pisco made from muscatel grapes, and read works by Isabel Allende, you're an aficionado of which South American country's culture?
Argentina.
Incorrect. Captain?
Chile.
Correct. 7, toss-up. Based on the life of Emily Dickinson, the play Allison's House won the 1931 Pulitzer Prize. Name the author of this work.
Tycho for odds.
Correct. 8, bonus. Find the 11th term of an arithmetic sequence with first term 8 and common difference -3.
-22.
Correct. 9, toss-up. In 1925, what Austrian chemist stated that no more than 2 electrons make...
Johnson Floppy.
King College.
Correct. 10, bonus. First and last name, please. His independent labor union engaged in numerous strikes. Who was the founder of the Polish labor union Solidarity? Incorrect. First and name, please. Sorry, this is a bonus for Pikeville.
I designate Eric.
Lech Walesa.
Correct. 11, toss-up. Followers of this religious sect believe that only the descendants of Allah.
Tycho for odds.
Correct. 12, bonus. Born Solomon Rabinowitz, this Russian-born Yiddish author took a pen name from a Hebrew expression meaning peace be with you. Name this author whose many stories about the Jewish milkman, Kievia, inspired the hit musical Fiddler on the Roof.
I designate Faraz.
Correct. 13, toss-up. Find the length of the major axis of the ellipse with equation x squared over 81 plus y squared over 64 equals...
Tycho Keith.
18.
Correct. Bonus, 14. Identify the chemical law that states that the vapor pressure of a solution of non-volatile solute equals the mole fraction of the solvent times the vapor pressure of the pure solvent.
The Chalier's principle.
Incorrect, Captain.
Dalton's law of partial pressures.
Incorrect. Incorrect. Raoult's law. 15, toss-up. And the Khmer Rouge was a...
Johnson Josh.
Pol Pot.
Incorrect. The Khmer Rouge was a communist army operating in which Asian country?
Tycho Land.
Cambodia.
Correct. 16, bonus. The 2-year uprising was triggered by the growing religious and economic oppression to which the lower classes were subjected by the nobles and clergy. Give the common name for the 16th century revolt in which the lower classes of Germany demanded the abolition of serfdom.
Peasants' revolt.
Correct. 17, toss-up. In 1986, this author won the Pulitzer Prize for her poetry volume, Thomas and Beulah. And
Michael Eric.
Read it up.
correct, 18 bonus. Find the horizontal asymptote of the graph of the equation y equals 2 over the quantity x plus 3.
Y equals 0.
Correct. 19, toss-up. For a hoop, it is equal to mass times radius squared, whereas for a solid cylinder, it is equal to 1/2 of mass times radius squared. What is this physical quantity symbolized by a capital I, which explains why a solid cylinder rolls to the bottom of an inclined plane more quickly than a hoop of equal mass?
Michael Keith.
Moment of inertia.
Correct. 20 bonus. He worked tirelessly to bring racial equality to his home state of Mississippi. Identify the civil rights advocate whose 1963 death and the subsequent trial of his killer over 30 years later are the subjects of the movie Mississippi Burning.
His name Lance Chabon.
Incorrect. Oh, I'm sorry, incorrect. Captain?
Good job. Medgar Evers.
Correct.
Time.
Time. Johnson Central. Questions? Would you close that back door, please? We are ready for question number 21. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Okay. 21 toss-up. According to Greek mythology, when this nymph was chased by the god Apollo, she changed herself.
Michael Eric.
Daphne.
Correct. 22 bonus. Awake and Sing and Waiting for Lefty are two dramas by what Depression era playwright?
Disney, Eric. Odets.
Correct. 23 toss-up. A 2x2 matrix has top row 8, negative 8, 3, and both entries in the bottom row are the same. If the determinant of the matrix is 40, the number appears twice in the bottom row.
Johnson Swathi. 8.
Correct. 24 bonus. This simple device for differential linear expansion is bent when its temperature increases. What is this physical device most commonly used in thermostats?
Disney Josh. Bimetal thermometer.
Incorrect. Captain?
Disney, Ross.
Thermometer.
Bimetal strip or disc. 25 toss-up. Cotton and Increase were two colonial leaders who shared.
Johnson Josh.
Mather.
Correct. 26 bonus. What type of insurance provides monetary compensation for the loss of income when an illness or injury prevents an individual from working?
Unemployment insurance.
Incorrect. Captain?
Disney, Eric. Disability.
Correct. 27 toss-up. Born in Harlem as 20th century author tells
Johnson Kevin.
Langston Hughes.
it. Incorrect. Born in Harlem as 20th century author tells of his experiences as a preacher in Go Tell It on the Mountain and urges blacks to seek their own cultural identity in the fire next time. Identify this African-American author.
Michael Faraz.
Correct. 28 bonus. At what radian measure between 0 and pi does f of x equal 6 cosine 3x reach a minimum value?
Pi.
Incorrect. Captain?
0.
Incorrect. Pi over 3. 29 toss-up. Suppose the image distance for a particular mirror is 2 centimeters and the object's distance is 3 centimeters. What is the focal length of this mirror?
Michael Eric.
5 centimeters.
Incorrect.
Johnson Kevin.
1.5 centimeters.
Incorrect. 1.2 centimeters. 30 toss-up. In 1813, he succeeded George Clinton as President Madison's vice president. Identify this man whose name became synonymous with a term meaning to realign.
Michael Eric.
Calhoun.
Incorrect. In 1813, he succeeded George Clinton as President Madison's vice president. Identify this man whose name became synonymous with a term meaning to realign congressional districts.
Johnson Josh.
Jerry.
Correct. 31 bonus. Name the economic principle that states that the quantity of a good or service that buyers want to buy will be greater at lower prices than it will at higher prices.
Economics of scale.
Incorrect. Captain?
Disney, Ross. Law of demand.
Correct. 32 toss-up. Give the name of the standard writer's manual that was revised by E.B. White.
Michael Eric.
MLA.
Incorrect. Give the name of the standard writer's manual that was revised by E.B. White from the original work of William Strunk. The Elements of Style. 33 toss-up. Change 210 degrees to radian.
Johnson Swathi.
753.
Incorrect. Change 210 degrees to radian measure.
Michael Keith.
7, 5, or 6.
Correct. .34 bonus. What term from physics describes the non-conducting material between the plates of a capacitor? Capacitor.
Buffer.
Incorrect. Captain?
Disney Josh. Insulator.
Incorrect. Dielectric. 35 toss-up. Although the burning of Atlanta is more famous, this southern...
Johnson Josh.
Sherman.
Incorrect. Although the burning of Atlanta is more famous, this southern city was set afire in February 1865. Identify this southern city that was almost completely destroyed.
Michael Eric.
Savannah, Georgia.
Incorrect. Charleston, South Carolina. 36 toss-up. After the Reverend Samuel Sayer is killed by the Germans in Africa during World War I, Charlie Allnut agrees to take the preacher's sister back to civilization aboard his steamboat. The boat's name is the same as...
Michael Lamb.
African Queen.
Correct. 37 bonus. Named for an Oxford professor known for his humorous verbal slips, what term refers to the transposition of the initial sounds of two or more words, as in know your blows instead of blow your nose?
Spoonerism.
Correct.
Time out.
Time out, typo. In number 38. We've done a buzzer check. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to begin? 38 is a toss-up. Find the area of the triangle with sides 6 centimeters and 8 centimeters.
Johnson Kevin.
24 centimeters squared.
Incorrect. Find the area of a triangle with sides 6 centimeters and 8 centimeters that include an angle 30 degrees.
Michael Kieran.
20 centimeters square.
12 square centimeters. 39 toss-up. In 1890, this physicist developed a series of equations that describe space-time coordinates in a manner valid for all speeds. Who developed the transformation equations in connection with electromagnetism, the significance of which was later recognized by Albert Einstein?
Johnson Kevin.
Tesla.
Incorrect. Hendrik Lorentz. 40 toss-up. In 1889, 2,295 people were killed in massive flooding in Johnstown.
Johnson Kevin.
Pennsylvania.
Correct. 41 bonus. Someday My Prince Will Come, Whistle While You Work, and Hi Ho, Hi Ho are 3 songs from a 1937 movie that was the first full-length feature by Walt Disney. Name this classic.
Snow White and Seven Dwarfs.
Correct. 42 toss-up. It indexes poems, stories, and articles from more than 100 magazines and is published many times throughout the course of a year. What is this reference book used to locate specific magazine articles?
Johnson Willie.
Reader's Guide to Periodical Literature.
Correct. 43 bonus. Express as a single trigonometric function. Tan sine x cosine x.
5 sine 2x.
Correct. 44 toss-up. A critical point arrives when the mass of a white dwarf star is about 1.4 solar masses. Such a star has the highest density and smallest radius possible. Identify this point.
Michael Kieran.
Supernova.
Incorrect. A critical point arrives when the mass of a white dwarf star is about 1.4 solar masses. Such a star has the highest density and smallest radius possible. Identify this point at which degenerate electron matter is crushed by the star's own gravity.
Johnson Josh.
Singularity.
Incorrect. Chandrasekhar limit. 45 toss-up. It contained 8 articles and was formulated in a secret meeting off the coast of Newfoundland in August.
Johnson Willie.
Mayflower Compact.
Incorrect. It contained 8 articles and was formulated in a secret meeting off the coast of Newfoundland in August 1941. Identify this agreement which declared the aims of the United States and Great Britain.
Michael Ryan.
Marshall Plan.
Incorrect. The Atlantic Charter. 46 toss-up. In November 2001, this British guitarist passed away.
Michael Saul.
New Jersey.
Correct. 47 bonus. Correctly spell the 7-letter type of Polish and Russian soup made from beets.
B-O-R-S-C-H-T.
Correct. 48 toss-up. Differentiate the expression 5 cosine 4x with respect to x.
Johnson Swathi.
Negative 20 sine 4x.
Correct. 49 bonus. Stone Mountain in Georgia and Half Dome in Yosemite are examples of the geologic features which are partially exposed. What are these large, discordant, non-tabular masses of igneous rock that have surface exposures of at least 100 square kilometers?
Batholith.
Correct. And 50 is a toss-up. Hazel O'Leary was a former head of this department. Identify this cabinet department created by Jimmy Carter administration.
Johnson Josh.
Education.
Incorrect. Hazel O'Leary was a former head of this department. Identify this cabinet department created by the Jimmy Carter administration in 1977.
Michael Saul.
Incorrect. The Department of Energy. And that is the end of the math.